The criminal grabbed the prison guard all of a sudden. The criminal beside him was so scared that he let out a loud scream. At this moment, something strange happened. The lights on the wall suddenly went out. The criminal let go of the prison guard, sat back on the bed, and started coughing continuously. Then a large cluster of black flying insects flew out of his mouth. The criminal said he had cured the prison guard's illness, and then lay back on the bed. The prison guard went to the toilet and found that his illness was really cured. This made him unable to believe that this criminal was in prison because of murder. To show his gratitude, the prison guard brought the criminal some cornbread. The prisoner beside also clamored to have some. The prison guard stepped forward and told him to shut up, but ended up getting spat in the face. There was a prison guard in the prison who liked to bully the prisoners. One day, he was grabbed by a prisoner, and this prison guard was so scared that he wet his pants. The old prisoner whom he had bullied laughed at him. Before long, it was time for the old prisoner to be executed. But this time, a serious accident occurred. The mean prison guard still remembered the old prisoner's mocking of him, and deliberately didn't wet the sponge. This led to the situation that when the current was switched on, the old prisoner wasn't electrocuted immediately. Instead, thick smoke rose from all over his body. The criminal seemed to be able to feel the old prisoner's pain, and he kept trembling. At night, the criminal kept crying in pain because he could feel all the sufferings that the prisoners endured. The next day, the prison guard went to visit the warden and learned that the warden's wife had a serious illness and there was no way to perform an operation. Her body was extremely weak. The prison guard couldn't bear to see his friend in such pain. So, he gathered the prison guards who knew that the criminal had mysterious powers, and they were going to carry out a prison break plan. At night, they secretly brought the criminal out. When the warden saw the prisoner, he immediately picked up a gun and pointed it at the criminal. But the criminal walked right in front of him and said something to calm the warden down. He came up to the warden's wife. Then the criminal kissed the woman, and the woman instantly regained her spirit and became healthy. However, the criminal was taken back to the prison by the warden. Since there was no one to prove that the criminal was innocent, he could only stay in prison. But he didn't have any regrets because he had helped everyone. Soon, it was also time for the criminal to be executed. The criminal pleaded not to be put on a hood because he was afraid of the dark. At this moment, all the prison guards shed tears. It was the first time they had shed tears for a prisoner. The prison guard walked up to the criminal and held the criminal's hand again, just like the first time they met, as a final memento. Then he held back his tears and gave the execution order. When the electric current passed through the criminal's body, the criminal finally lost his life.